Howdy folks. Today is Saturday, January 4, 2020. I've been talking about the table that Linda and I built for our daughter Anne, and this is it. She varnished the legs and the bottom of the table, and then today we just lifted it off of the sawhorses. Now the next thing we'll be using these for is to glue the top part of the veneers on the door course. But back to this table, because we had it turned upside down so she could varnish it. And I said that I think we used over 50 screws. Before we brought it over here, I counted, we used 98 screws on the bottom of this table. We used 50 of them to glue these skirt boards around. There's 4 of them, one on each side. And then we used 10 for each of the legs to screw that bracket in that you saw on a previous video. And then 2 big spax screws to screw the legs in there, held on each corner, on 2 corners right here against the skirt board, and right here against the skirt board. I showed you yesterday, each of the legs is built with 4 pieces of white oak glued together, and I really like, this whole thing will just be varnished, no stain. After we moved it over here on Saturday morning today, what I did is I went through and I sanded the edges and eased the corner of the tables over. And then Linda will put wood conditioner on it, and then within a half an hour after that, she'll varnish the whole table. Well, I also sanded the top of this table. It had gone through at the cabinet shop. I sanded the top of this table with 50 grit sandpaper just to get off some of the varnish and the like that would have seeped through in little cracks on the table. And then I came back with a 220. This thing is like running your hand over a pane of glass. This is a tack cloth, and before Linda does the top, I'll just ask her if she can wipe it down, and that'll pick up all the sawdust and the like. This table is made of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pieces of lumber. The table dimension is 45 wide and 84 long. Now, when I talk about this, I think is what they call bird's eye. And you see how it's almost going against the grain. They cut, or maybe it's quarter sawn or bird's eye, one of the two. This is a soft maple. I learned that from the cabinet shop. What I like on it is the variations, the dark and then the white. Here I love these big knots. I know that might ordinarily be considered to be a flaw, but I look at it and I think it's just absolutely gorgeous. Now, when Linda puts the wood conditioner on here and then the varnish, it'll take on, I think, a nice light to somewhat medium, I'll say, brown hue to it, and it'll just look very, very nice. We'll put at least 3 coats of varnish on, probably 3. I want to show you what those boards would have looked like before we planed them down and worked with them. They would have looked like something like any of these boards. They're rough and the like. So by us taking these boards that we bought from that farmer over in Wisconsin, you know, and they looked like stuff below there, you see. So I still have quite a few boards left. But the reason I used white oak for legs is I like the way the white oak looks, and it's real sturdy wood. And so, and I think it'll give a nice contrast to the table rather than that homogeneous sameness on legs and tabletops. So it'll look different this afternoon, but right now I'm real pleased with this. Now I'm going to go work on gluing up some veneers on the stiles.